everyone, it's me, StariAri, just here to talk about the subject matter in hand that I've been seeing throughout these few months here on social media and of course everywhere else. So again, share if you guys can, please. This is a very important subject. A lot of people need to understand the differences between actual spiritual growth mentality and the cult spirituality or the victim mentality, because they come hand in hand, you guys. So what is spiritual growth to begin with? Hi guys. Spiritual growth is your own unique perspective, okay? Your own unique path and the way that you perceive that path towards spirituality, or what you are doing now for your spiritual path, okay? This is the ascension path, you guys. We are in it already. A lot of people don't believe that, but that's okay because I do. Hi guys. So yeah, please share. So what does that mean for us as individuals? That means that what you perceive really does matter. It matters in the way that it helps you grow within, okay? And trusting that is of the utmost importance as well, okay? Because this will prevent you from veering into the path of stagnation or cult spiritualism, as well as victim mentality, okay? This is absolutely important for all of us to understand the difference in that type of mentality. So with the cult spiritualism or the victim mentality that it goes hand in hand with, this is a subject that has been growing rampant within the spiritual community. I've seen this firsthand with a person that I was very close to, no longer close to as well. It's a similar type of, I guess you could say, path that Emmy had described, but a different person. So what does this mean? So this is how I perceived it, and you know, at that point in time I didn't really label it, because again, it was a part of my growth, and it was very much necessary for me to experience that type of mentality, okay? So what it was is a person that perceived themselves as being a spiritual leader, because of the subject matter that this person was considered by others to be an expert in. Not necessarily that this person was an expert, because there's no such thing as being an expert when it comes to spiritual growth and spiritual reality. It is very much an individual thing, okay? So with this person gathered a huge following in that person's perception or perspective at that point in time, I, in my mindset, didn't think it was a big deal. But whatever, to each their own, right? So this person started changing, okay? This person came in with the mentality of wanting to help others, of being of service to others, right? Which is beautiful and noble type of path and mentality, right? Because who doesn't want to serve and help their brothers and sisters grow through this very confusing, very and sometimes crucial or scary path towards ascension. So again, I was very supportive of this person in the beginning, but I started to notice a slight change in their attitude, a slight dictatorship type of mentality that came about after a few, again, subscribers to this person's social media accounts. The information that was disseminated by this person, again, was based on their own filter, third eye, and information that they were receiving that they interpreted on their own, Okay, again, I always say this to people: no one is an expert in spirituality. No one knows the ins and outs of it. No one knows exactly how everything works. Okay, but this person perceived themselves and thought themselves to be an expert, because this person was claiming that they were always constantly receiving downloads daily, and this person was vocalizing these downloads daily on social media, which again, that's their path. Hi guys. So what it was is, I was very supportive until, again, I started seeing the changes in the person's attitude towards other people, to include myself. When a friendship happens, it is a two-way road, okay? There's a give and take for both parties. And this time, at this point in time, it was more of a give for that person. It was more like he was taking, okay, from myself and other people around them that this person thought were their friends, or claimed were their friends publicly. Did they know who was that? I questioned all the time. I always questioned this person about these downloads that this person was receiving, and the same answer would be, oh, I know for a fact it's my guide, and the guide would be Archangel Michael. I explained to this person, because again, I perceive as well that this person needs to make sure that it is truly Archangel Michael who is giving this information to them. Because when I saw the energy, it was not. In my point of view, in the way that my third eye works, I always recommended to ask, again, if this is really a person or a being of love and light. And this is something that I pretty much always say to other people, okay? So anyway, as the story goes, the person was completely engulfed in this information, engulfed in the spiritual path, on their own spiritual journey and whatnot. Oftentimes I would speak to a mutual friend that at this point right now in my journey, this mutual friend is still in my life, because we understand how important it is to keep and respect one another's space, as well as keep it integrity between our friendship, and understanding that it is based on unconditional love, not just a want and a need of one another. So, and this person didn't see it that way. We were dispensable to this person. If we did not fall in line, if we did not agree with this person's point of view, or do as this person says, we were shunned and ostracized from this person's followership. This person made it very clear and very public when they decided to do this. They decided to cut myself and this other person out of their life, to include other people, I'm pretty sure. They did it very public. They didn't apologize whatsoever. They didn't even try to reach out to us when this is happening. I tried to reach out. I tried to do as much as I could to try to remedy the situation, try to understand why it was happening. And then I was met with silence. But anyway, I was paying for a lot of the things that this person was actually using, and I had messaged this person privately and let them know I'm no longer going to be paying for that. So no contact, no reply whatsoever. I gave them a strict timeline, enough time for them to do what they needed to do to go ahead and keep whatever it is that they wanted open, and then I went ahead and got my information, my bank information, away from this linked whatever account it was, and they went public with it, stating that I ruined their life, I ruined this or that, because I am no longer gonna let them bully me into believing that they deserve my finances because of their spiritual mission, okay? So this is definitely something that I have been seeing in the spiritual community as of late, actually a lot. It is definitely something that is, it does resonate deeply with me when I see people struggling through this very same scenario, because it's kind of like, you know for a fact your integrity, and you know you want to be out there and help your brothers and sisters, and then all of a sudden they turn their back on you because you won't give them any more money, or because you won't listen to their rules anymore, right? So again, there's more things that happen in that situation where, you know, the mutual friend that came out of that situation against Guard as well, or attempted to be ostracized publicly by this person. Her situation was totally more erratic than my own, because of her being there to control, like she was there controlling the bookings and all of that stuff for the person that did this. So for her, it was horrible, the text messages that I saw between them. It was, my friend was getting, you know, verbally abused big time by this person, and this person claimed to be spiritual. They claimed to be of love and light. They claimed to just understand other people and be there for them, right? They claim this, and they still claim this to this day. And this is definitely something that contradicted that behavior. And to this day, my friend still has those messages, and she chooses not to go public with that, because again, that is not the type of person she is. So anyway, I have to say this because there's a lot of people out there who are going through the same thing as well with other so-called spiritual leaders, where this so-called spiritual leader is constantly berating them, constantly getting on their case about sharing my stuff. No one else is allowed to share any other reader or any other leaders' information on their personal page and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a dictatorship. It is kind of like they're creating this enslavement type of mentality, because people are in fear of, you know, being again outed the way that I was publicly humiliated, and the way that other people have been publicly humiliated, you know, out there. They fear that, you know, where they think, oh my gosh, this person's gonna like throw all my business out there, and they're gonna, you know, make me feel like shit. Nobody's gonna be my friend, right? I was just like, whatever. I know my truth, and I know everything that was said was pretty much this person's narcissistic type of mentality to make herself look like the victim here. I'm not a victim, and I would never claim I was. The only thing that I do say is that I wish things were better. I wish things would have gone a different route. Yes, I still wish that, but I'm not gonna be here to be somebody's doormat either, okay? So that's why I'm kind of glad that that did end. And of course, it helped me on my own mission, and to see that I understand how other people out there are going through the same thing, and I have a more of a understanding of their pain as well, you know. But anyway, so that's the difference, you know. That's the difference between being a spiritual, actually being spiritual and learning your own way, and then relying on somebody else, because they could end up turning to be this way, you know. And it's unfortunate because, you know, a lot of people out there have the most beautiful potential to help humanity, but because of the ego self, because of the ego mindset, they choose to follow that instead, you know. And so it is very sad when I see that with a lot of people in the spiritual community. But again, this is a lesson in itself for us as well. Those who are witnessing this right now firsthand, this is a lesson for us to make sure that we are mindful of our actions, make sure we are mindful of our thoughts, make sure we are mindful of what we post in, you know, out there in social media. Make sure that we are living in integrity. Make sure that we are not falling into the ego trap of being a dictator and creating a cult following. You know, we have to, this is pretty much a lesson in that, okay? So talking about energy, okay, how does this apply to energy? Because I know a lot of you guys are healers out there. Well, this definitely applies to the lower chakras, okay? Starting from the solar plexus on down, okay? The solar plexus, for one, is the root of power. The sacral chakra is the emotional platform where you and the way that you actually perceive your emotions and the way that you feel about others. The root is your foundation, your connection to the material world and the way that you perceive that connection as well, okay? So the lower chakras are always affected by things and situations like this, especially if, again, this is how it usually happens, where people's root chakra is unbalanced because there is a perceived notion that they're not being taken care of, right? Either it's financially or you know, they don't have stability in their work space, or they don't have stability at home, you know, and so they go out there and they feel the need to have a savior, okay? And that is an error, okay? It is, no one's here to save anybody. You are able, as an adult, as a human, as a sovereign, as a spiritual person, to save yourself, to completely remove all fear from that wanting of a savior, okay? Any situation that's going on, especially when it comes to finances or you know, an instability in your home life or in your work life, you could go beyond that. You could actually grow from that and understand that you have the power to control it. No one else is going to help you with that. Only you, okay? The next one is the sacral chakra, and this is what the emotional centers come from, okay? This is how we perceive our emotions and how we actually, I guess you could say, integrate them, okay? A lot of us, we tend to be overly emotional, and that is perfectly fine. Even if the situation doesn't remedy it, it's still a necessary aspect of the human body or the human condition for growth purposes, okay? This is example that you have to allow yourself to feel, okay? And you have to trust that feeling, even if you feel that you exaggerated that feeling, okay? It doesn't matter. You have to trust it. You have to trust it because it is actually giving you information on what to do next, okay? So again, it's more or less under acknowledging what you're feeling, the emotion that comes with the perception of feeling that you need a savior, okay? Or the perception that feeling that you are unstable and therefore somebody has to come and pick you up from the ground, right? So seeing why that is there, what's causing that feeling of you needing somebody else? What's the root cause of that? And it's always linked to childhood, you guys. This is always linked to that. Our first and earlier memories of the people that we thought were an emotional, you know, safety blanket for us are, you know, adults in our lives, or, you know, the first person that you thought was the authority in your life, okay? That is where it comes from. That is usually where it stems from, especially knowing and seeing how they interacted with other people, how they, if you've ever seen them, you know, be hateful towards other people, if you've ever seen them be, I guess you could say, overly aggressive, or just emotional wrecks. But anyway, that is definitely coming from there. It is an imprint of that, and that's where it stems from, especially the feelings of like depression or not belonging. That definitely stems from your childhood, even from a past life, but that past life is actually cycling in as this lesson in the childhood as well. And so that's where that one's linked. For the solar plexus is something very complex, the solar plexus, because that is your seat of power. That is where you have control, okay? You have the courage, you have the ability to move forward in your life again, understanding that you're an independent person, an independent soul, therefore you don't need anybody else. So when there's something off with that, especially because of the wanting or needing of a savior, then you will feel like you have no control. You will feel like you have no say in your life, that everything is happening to you. Like all the negative stuff is happening to you and not for you, for your growth, right? So we got to switch that up and turn that around and say, you know what? This is happening for me, for my growth. This is a lesson in trusting myself and my ability to be my own savior. Okay? My ability to not allow others to persuade me into following their cult mentality, into following their dictatorship, right? And this is definitely where everything, that type of mentality is stemming from, you guys. And working through these emotions, working through these imprints is the only way that you yourself will save yourself. That you yourself will not need a savior outside of you. That you yourself will understand that you control your destiny. You control your path. And you've always controlled it. Okay? Again, this is definitely something that needs to be said because, again, I've seen this over and over again. And it's unfortunate, but it does take time for a lot of us to understand this is where it all stems from, is from within, okay? Everything that happens around us, everything that we see comes from within, all right? It is taking responsibility for our emotions, taking responsibility for the way we perceive our power, taking responsibility the way we perceive our situations, even though they look kind of dim. Okay, this is definitely something that needs to be said. Okay, again, that will stop you from falling into the trap of following a leader, of following a savior. Okay, that'll stop that. Okay, so again, this needed to be said because I needed to express why I agree with being public with some people, some people going out publicly, sharing the way that they were mistreated. I agree on that. Why? Because it'll help somebody else. It'll help somebody else's voice to be heard as well later on. It'll encourage people to move away from those type of relationships, to move away from those toxic cult leaders, and to actually trust in their own self. This is definitely a subject that needed to be said, especially when we are here as light workers to help other people and help them empower themselves. So that is like the situation that happened with me it's a blessing for me because I'm more understanding and I'm able to speak and relate to those who are still falling, in that victim mentality, who are still following that cult leader. Okay? Yeah, so, sorry, let me just see. There's a lot of comments. Sorry, you guys. Oh my god, hey guys. So yeah, that's why. Yes, Aaron. Don't drink the cult Kool-Aid. Exactly. Everybody is divine. Everybody is a spiritual, empowered being, and that is why you are here. Okay? There's no mistake that you're here. None whatsoever around this point in time. There is no mistake that you are aware of your own intuition as well as your own abilities around this point in time. There is no mistaking that you are here to create a safe haven for those who have been ostracized and have been, ridiculed by others. There's no mistake that we are here to uplift the vibration of others, okay? It's just believing that in yourself, that you are worthy, that this path is worthy of you and you only. You know, your own personal spiritual path is truly, truly worthy of you and the way that you perceive things as a spiritual person. Okay? Thank you, Emmy. Yes, Jessica. Yeah, and that's good. You know, and I don't call people out. People who know me and seen what happened back then understand who I'm talking about, and that's perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure there's lurkers out there who are still in that person's cult, and so they're probably, you know, messaging that person and saying, oh my god, you know, and I don't care. Do what you wish. It's your path. I chose a higher road. You're choosing to be petty. That's perfectly fine. Guess what? I'm still here and I'm still doing my work, and I'm still going to continue to do my work no matter what you say. Oh yeah, for sure, Aaron. Just shoot me a message. Just let me know what time you want to do that. I'm always there to speak my truth. You know, even though people don't agree with it half of the time, it's perfectly fine with me. Yeah, I call people. Okay, so one time, so I'm gonna give you a reason why I call people lurkers. Okay, and of course, other things lurkers, because I was doing a sweep of somebody's auric field outside of, you know, their shields, and I saw like a bunch of energy, you know, manifested around there. It was human energy as well as, you know, other beings, and they were lurking. They're just like watching, like they weren't touching or anything. They were just like doing this number, like, oh, you know, watching, focusing on that person. And then as soon as I stepped in or stepped close to that person's energy field, they turned around and was like, oh, and they took off, right? And so Archangel Kamael, who is the archangel that I work with personally for these things, he was like, oh, they're just a bunch of lurkers. And I was just like, what? I started using that word or that term, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna start calling them that, because that's what they are. You know, they're just spying on people. They're just finding a weakness in their shield and just attempting to you know, persuade them this or that way. And so, because what they do is they're spying and then they're relaying information to whoever sent them, right? And the same thing would be for people who are lurking on other people's lives. They're just spying and relaying information to whoever sent them, you know, and it's just kind of funny, because it's just like, does it really matter what I say? Not really. Like, it matters to me, but it shouldn't really matter that much to somebody else, you know, especially because I don't have any whatsoever any power over them as a person, over their path at all. And that's another thing too that I saw a comment about, and I think Emmy talked about this too, about a person, a so-called spiritual leader, telling people that they need to do as this person says, or else their spiritual contract is going to be, you know, messed with by this person. I'm just like, what the hell? I couldn't help but laugh, but because I felt how ridiculous that notion is, that somebody could actually control your path, your spiritual contract, and your spiritual growth like that. I was like, that is asinine. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No one has that type of power over you, only God, all right? And this person is obviously in human form, so therefore they're not God. So they have no control whatsoever with that at all. They can make you think for a while, yeah, out of out of fear, but you know, is it really necessary for spiritual growth? It might be for a lot of people so that they could step into their power, but if you keep going after these so-called leaders and they keep abusing you, they keep rejecting your point of view. They keep ostracizing you and they keep insulting you in front of others. Do you really think that they're actually spiritually inclined? My personal point of view, I say no. I say no. They're the opposite of spiritual. All right. Hi, guys. But yeah, so when I saw that comment, I was like, what in the world what's happening in the spiritual community? Like, what's really going on? Because I am a student of psychology, so I look at these things as a psychological issue within that person, especially those people who are that cult leader. You know, they have a lot of psychological issues within them, and it's something that they need to deal with on their own. You know, of course, with everything, it's individuals' need of healing, and of course recognizing that they need it to begin with. And some of them, you know, some of them it's just going to take longer than others to recognize that. With anything, it is a mental and an emotional issue, okay? Because emotionally speaking, they were probably deprived of their own power for a very long time. And so that now they have this platform where they have supposedly power over others. So they are just reeling it in, you know, and just overly doing it. So it is definitely, my take on that is that's how I perceive them, is that they're overdoing that because they had, I guess you could say it for a long time when they were younger. They didn't have that power. There was probably somebody in their life who took that away from them. But again, it is a choice. So if they felt like a victim of somebody else being controlling over them, then in turn, because now that they have this platform where they speak, they're doing the same thing to others because they haven't healed that wound about themselves, you know? And so, because again, they got the taste of control. Because again, they were rejected or they were neglected for one this or that or whatever excuse, but it's still not a good idea, you know? It's more or less to understand that we're not here to control anybody, okay? That's why I always say, like, hey, you know, this is my point of view. You don't have to agree with it, and that's perfectly fine because I'm still gonna talk my point of view. You know, I'm still gonna say what I want to say. So this is definitely something I started seeing with these people, these, you know, cult leaders, these people who go overboard with their mentality of being a leader. I was in a position of being a leader in the military, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it fucking sucks. I was like fucking stressed out of my mind, and I was just like, I'm never ever doing that again. Never, you know, because it is a stressful thing to do. You know, I was a staff sergeant and I had like over 23 people under me at a point in time when I was out in, actually in South Korea. I had to like supervise that many people. And yes, there was a lot of fuck ups, you know, so I was just like, God damn, man, I'm gonna get yelled at again today, you know. You know, it comes with the territory, you know, because if somebody messes up under your command, it's you who get yelled at. It's you who get the punishments, not them, you know. So it's just kind of like, God, man, I don't ever want to be in that position ever again. And so, you know, and then in England, it's even worse because, you know, in that point in time, the type of people that we were getting into the military were not military ready, meaning the training was softer, the training was more lenient. So we had to train them. So I had to take time and train these people, you know, to have a more military mindset about, you know, actually being responsible as a responsible human being and not seeing the military as a college, you know, frat party, you know. And so that was stressful for me. And I was a single mom back then. I had you know, my daughter. And so I was just like, how the hell am I gonna, you know, take time away from my daughter and go and take care of this person's issue, you know? And it's just like, I was just like, God damn, you know, never again. So that's definitely why I feel like these people who didn't have the, you know, those positions earlier in life, you know, take advantage of that now, you know, or they just feel like, oh, you know, this is my destiny. Oh yeah, I need to be in control of everything that everybody does. I need to hear everybody's, you know, like grievances and stuff like that, because I'm going to be the one who is judge and jury, and I'm going to dictate what it is that this person needs to do, you know, because it's ridiculous. I'm like, fuck that. You could do all you want with that, but it's never gonna it's not gonna, you know, do anything or help anybody, you know. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how people could live like that. It just, I don't like it. Oh, thank you, Emmy. Oh, man. No, you guys, I remember my first time that I had to go, I only went to Afghanistan one time, and that was a blessing. I remember they told me, oh, you're going to be a fire team leader, and you're going to be in charge of this, and this, and that person, and I'm just like, crap. So, me being in a leadership position at that time, I seen how corruptible other leaders could be, you know, and so I was telling myself, like, you know, I could go ahead and confront these people and say what I needed to say, but it's still not going to change their mind, right? Because they think they're not doing anything wrong. And that's the same thing with these people on social media, where you could go ahead and confront them and they're still gonna be like, fuck you, I have all these followers. One less follower, you know. But I'm the type of person that is that way, where I will speak my truth. You know, I will send a message, I will send an email, I will go in front of their face and I will speak my truth, but in a compassionate way. I'm not going to yell, because yelling is just going to be combative. So in Afghanistan, I seen, there was a particular person where he wasn't well liked because he was always messing something up, right? He was always late to work. He was always having an excuse as to why he didn't want to do the things that he was asked to do. But he was still under my supervision. So I was always getting yelled at because of him, but I never yelled at him, because I told him, I was like, you know what? If you really don't want to be in the military, then you need to say so, because it feels like you don't. It feels like you don't have the motivation anymore for this job, and that is going to be an issue, especially if something really bad happens. You know, are we going to be relying on you to have our backs when shit goes down? Are you going to even be here? Are you going to be on time? You know, stuff like that. So I had a heart-to-heart with that person instead of yelling at him like everybody else was. And it actually impacted him, because the next year he actually got out. And he said that was like the best choice that he ever made. But the leaders that were yelling at me and yelling at him at the same time, they didn't have that mentality. They didn't have the mentality to just sit and talk to the person as a human being. They were more like, stop fucking up, you know, stop fucking up, and just being really cruel to them. And so when I see that in the spiritual community, where these leaders or these, you know, cult leaders call people out in public to shame them, you know, because they did something that, you know, they didn't want them to do, I'm just like, have you ever stopped and actually talked to them in private first, instead of throwing all their shit out there like that? And I'm pretty sure 90% of the time it's a hell no. They're just gonna do it. So anyway, that's when I see that, I'm just like, oh my God, this reminds me of these people who I used to work with. You know, these people remind me of that, and how you know, control and power can corrupt an individual easily. And so that's why when I saw this firsthand in the military, and then I'm seeing it here in the spiritual community, I'm just like, damn, you know what? It is a blessing, because it is showing me that I didn't do that. I didn't do that, and I'm not going to do it anytime soon. I'm seeing their actions as pretty much a lesson for me to not follow in that path. Not going down that path anymore, down that road of the ego mindset. And this is definitely a growth thing. This is the growth mindset stepping in from the victim mentality. All right. Hi, guys. No. Yeah, Carlos, yeah, it's to a point, to an extent of programming, because I believe in free will, so I believe that anybody has the ability to change. Anybody does. Like, anybody has the ability to understand that healing is necessary, and in order for them to change, in order for them to actually be and be genuinely spiritual, be genuinely that person that is going to be of service to their brothers and sisters. I see that there is always a choice to either continue on that road towards pain and suffering, or choosing the path of compassion, compassion for the self and compassion for other people, asking, taking the time off and healing the stuff that needed to be healed so you could be of service to others. Okay. Hi, guys. Jody Greaser, you must be listening to your wish set I gave you, Ari, because your wish set talks about getting out of your victim mentality to save yourself. Yeah. Yes, Carlos, you're correct. We do need to unlearn and start living. Yeah, you're so right. Yep. It is definitely, and like Emmy had said earlier in her video, where we are here as a spiritual community because we've seen this type of mentality before in different, societal circles, right? Like, we've seen it with our parents or adults. We've seen it with religions, and stuff like that. And so we turned our backs from that because we wanted growth, right? But now it seems to me that a lot of people are still following that, I need a savior mentality that we learned back then with religion, right? And so, and I'm not saying that religion in itself is evil or all that stuff. It's just humanity that makes it that way. People in the position of power are corruptible, so therefore the words that they use, the beautiful words spoken in religious texts, are corrupted, are twisted up for their own means and gains, and it's humanity who's done this. I have, in my spiritual growth, I've actually experienced a communion with Jesus, and everything that he has taught me has nothing to do with what I was taught in a church, and so it's just kind of like, he says it's corruptible. A lot of things are corruptible because of the ego mindset, because of humanity's want for power and control. And so this is definitely something that I notice where in the spiritual community it's happening as well. This cycle of control and corruption is happening as well. And it is something that we need to acknowledge, not just turn our backs on. It is something that as individuals we need to seek understanding of, and understanding that it is definitely a lesson in itself for us, and to keep us on the path of, again, integrity, a growth mindset. Okay. Hey, guys. Thank you, Emmy. Yes, Carlos, it is. But, it is definitely, in the beginning, You know, in the beginning of any religion, in the birth of like Hinduism, and the birth of Buddhism, and the birth of Christianity, well, actually before it was even labeled Christianity, when Jesus actually was trying to understand Judaism, because that's what he was doing. He was teaching Judaism, okay? But in a different way, in a different, you know, point of view, perspective of the oneness and the whole of, you know, how we're all one, and how God's source does really exist within all of us and within everything that is created. So when he was trying to teach Judaism in his own point of view, it was beautiful, right? Just like when the Buddha, again, he didn't want a religion either, okay? The Buddha came to learn about his own path and to teach the path of enlightenment to others, that it is attainable, okay? And so the same thing with Hinduism, you know, the goddess and the gods came down to teach what oneness is all about, what connectiveness of the universal truth is all about, right? So these weren't supposed to be religions. These were just supposed to be, you know, a little bit of, I guess, points of view of these individuals that came down, so that they could share this perspective, and they could so that we could understand that it is attainable. You know, everything that they are attaining, we can attain as well, right? So again, before all of that, it was something beautiful. It was something whole. It was something complete. It was oneness in its very core, you know. And then of course humanity, we were the ones that created religion. And we were the ones that, you know, again, power, you know, corrupts. So that's how that went. Thank you, Carlos. If you want to friend request me, I have my personal profile is StariAri, and last name Ruiz is R-U-I-Z. So it's just like how I have it here in my business page, but with my last name. Thank you, Emmy. But yeah, you guys, seriously, just be mindful, you know, be mindful of those, you know, energies out there. This full moon is revealing so much to all of us. You know, it is definitely shining a light in the darkness. It is definitely showing us, you know, that we still have these things to deal with for the collective, right? Definitely something that we're all here to help with, right? We're here to uplift one another, not to, you know, I guess you could say persecute one another. We're here to uplift. So that's why I try to, yes, I get angry. Hell yeah, I'm human. I get angry. I get fired up because I see that. I see how people could hurt one another so harshly, because it does you know, pretty much, I do remember how I was hurt too. So it's just kind of like, man, this is coming up again. Maybe there's some more work I need to be, you know, doing within myself as well, because I keep seeing this, right? So I always make it a point to heal myself even further because of that, because of this, how I see these cycles being played out. And if I'm actually there and seeing it in my face, there's obviously a message for me with that as well. And so that's why I always take it as that, where there's always room for improvement within me. And so I always do things that way, where I know when I speak to my fiance about it, he's just like, oh, you don't need to do all that, you're perfect, because he thinks I'm perfect, and that's beautiful, and I love him for that. And I do the same thing for him, because I think he's my perfect, you know. But I tell him, like, you know, the more that we heal things about ourselves, the layers, you know, there's layers to us, right? We're not just one thing. The more that we do this, the better we're off, the happier we are, you know, within us, because we're accomplishing a lot in healing. We're actually acknowledging the need for it. We're acknowledging that we're not perfect. We're acknowledging that we still have lessons to learn, and that's beautiful, because that's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to grow, okay? That's why. Emmy, yeah. But yeah, that's definitely something, and especially for those out there who have that special someone who's here with you on the path and here to help you grow. That's a very beautiful connection, you know. And I used to think it this way, where a lot of the people that I used to date before I met him, I was just like, gosh, man, like, I deserve better, right? Because there's a lot of conflict. So before, I used to be so resentful for that, but then now that I started actually healing myself and I started acknowledging that, hey, they were just teaching me about the stuff that I needed to heal, right? So when I started doing that, I started feeling way better about my choices and about the past. And I even, I was even like, you know what, I'm okay with them now. Like, I don't hate them anymore. And so, because I had that mentality where the fire was just like, intense, and I was just like, I hate them, all this stuff. But it shows me that, hey, hatred is not the answer. It is definitely something that I need to work on, and definitely something that I did work on, and I'm still continue to work on, because I still get kind of like, ooh, like with people, but I don't lash out like I used to. I just take it in and see, okay, what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me about myself? What do I need to work on now? Yes, Tamara, yes, you are so right. Yes, Melissa, it does. And I didn't realize how, I guess you could say, because your mindset, it could actually manifest the stuff that you're thinking, right? I didn't realize until one of my exes told me. And that was kind of scary, because he cheated on me with a coworker of his, and I knew he was cheating. I just didn't have proof yet. So I finally got proof, because I finally confronted him, and I wasn't like gonna, let it happen, again. So I was just like, all right, just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. Are you still speaking to this person? Are you having an emotional connection or an emotional relationship with this person? Even though if it's not physical, it's still cheating in my mind. If you have an emotional connection to somebody, where you're flirting, where you're desiring them physically and stuff like that. And he finally revealed the truth, and I was so angered with it that I was just like, I wish he would feel exactly the way that I feel right now. And I did this for a whole month straight. That's how freaking angry I was at him. And sure enough, my friend, I have a friend that's a Buddhist, and she's like, you cannot do that. Or you cannot concentrate such anger on somebody. You cannot wish them the way that you feel, even if you feel shitty, you cannot wish that onto them, And so I was just like, help me with this, help me heal this within me. And she did. She helped me with meditation techniques, and she helped me with mindfulness, catching what I thought, if there's an emotion rising up, understanding and acknowledging it and stuff like that. And so I finally did, and for months after that, he never contacted me or anything like that. But a year after, and this was when I was still in the military, a year after, when I was finally able to move beyond that, because I was with him for almost 4 years, you guys. So we were going to get married. So a year after, it took me a whole year to just be okay with him. He messaged me, and he said how terrible things were between him and that girl that he cheated on me with, that she just ripped his heart out and da-da-da-da-da and all this stuff, cheated on him, la-la-la, all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. And I felt so bad. I was just like, and I told him straight out, oh man, dude, when you did that to me, I wish that happened to you, so you could feel the way that I feel about it. And he's like, I understand that, because it sucks. So we talked about it for a very long time, and we finally, were just at the point where, you know what, I'm so sorry that I thought that way about you. And he was just like, hey, well, I'm sorry that I cheated on you and whatever else. And so we left it at that. No communication after that, of course, but it was more or less a lesson for me to understand that the stuff that we think actually does happen. Okay, we do have that, especially when it comes to that type of lower vibration. You can hurt somebody, you know. So it's just being careful with that, being careful and being mindful about the way that we perceive other people. That is definitely a lesson, a big one. And then after that, I decided I am not going to be that way. Like that was shitty. Yes, Josh. Learn self-love, self-control, positivity, because negativity manifests. Yes, it does, definitely. And it will harshly affect the world. Yes, exactly. And that's why, as light workers, as understanding how energy works and vibration works, we are very much responsible for the outcome of this ascension cycle, so that would vibrate higher, then it'll be smoother. So yeah, but of course we're human, you know, we will have our bad days, but it's just understanding not to project the negativity onto other people. You know, it's understanding to contain it within us and understand how to heal that within us, okay? Yes. What? I'm a Pisces moon, you guys, so... So psychic and very, very psychic and very emotional. So it's just definitely, yeah. Even, I'm a Sagittarius sun, so I'm very upbeat half of the time. You know, I do laugh at myself a lot. But it is that Pisces moon, especially around this time of the month, that I'm just like, God damn emotions, you know? Thank you, Adriana. Yeah, I love the way that Jax explains things, because it's not your typical chart reading, you guys. Honestly, he is so talented. He incorporates his own intuitive gifts with the chart reading. So it's beyond just, okay, this is this and that is that. It's more or less understanding how it all fits in, and having the intuition to reveal exactly this person's soul composition and what it means, you know. That's why I highly recommend a chart reading with him, you guys. It is very, very thorough, very detailed, and I was completely amazed, because I was like, oh, god damn, now it makes sense. Everything he said, it makes sense. So, because I was just having the craziest things happening astrally, and I was telling him, and I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but gosh, man, like, it's like never ending, you know, mission work, and it's just like I'm exhausted all the time. And so he looked today, you know, if you guys watch his live, he looked into my chart, and he hit the nail on the head the whole time. I was like getting all teary-eyed. I'm like, oh my god, it's so right. Peter, yes, see? That's awesome. Oh, Cosmo answer, Jax Atlantis, so it's Jax and then Atlantis, his business page. I do have on my own page, I shared his video, so if you guys click on that and go to his business page, you could go ahead and message him there. As well as follow him, because he will be doing this again tomorrow, you guys. So check the business page to see what time that is, or follow him and like his page so that you can know when he comes on. Definitely a good person to, you know, to read for you guys. He is very talented in many ways. And so is Emmy. When I was watching Emmy's video today, I was just like, damn, she's on fire, you know? And so I was just like, my Sagittarius, you know, energy was like, woo, ramped up. And I was like, yeah, you know? I was just like, holy cow. And so I was just like, I was messaging her while I was watching it. I was like, girl, like within the first 10 minutes, I was ready to throw fireballs and stuff. I was like that. I felt like, you know what I imagined? And this is funny because I used to watch Dragon Ball Z as a kid. So I imagined her as when they go Super Saiyan, you know? It's just like this big old energy vortex, and he's just like, wow, you know, powerful and shit. And And I was like, damn, she went Super Saiyan. 50 calorie. Yeah, so it's definitely something I was just like, wow. And so it did motivate me to speak my truth today for you guys, and the way that I perceive what's going on out there. But again, you guys, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak your own truth. Don't be afraid to, if you see it, and if it looks like shit and it smells like shit, don't be afraid to confront it, and not saying in a negative way, more or less in a tactful and actually compassionate way. Not attacking the person necessarily, more or less asking them privately, what's really going on. Asking them for real, like, hey, I noticed this post. Can I ask you what's really going on? Like within you. Because I bet you anything, they probably never had somebody ask them that before. Because again, they put barriers and walls up. They put this face out there where they're untouchable, right? A lot of their followers don't think they have a right to even communicate with them, right? As a human being. And so I encourage this because I do the same thing, where if I see somebody post, I message them privately and I'm like, hey, are you all right? Like, you okay? Like what's really going on? Okay. And so definitely if they don't answer back, don't take it personally, because obviously they're not in the right mindset or are ready to express that. Okay. So again, if they block you, then don't take it personally. They're not in that mindset to express that. And again, it is definitely something that at least you tried, right? At least you knew that it was the right thing to do, and you tried. Okay. Norma Louise Rasmussen, I did that today, then someone shamed her away. Can't find her now. Hope she's cool. Oh, shoot. And it sucks. It does suck, but again, at least you tried. Okay? At least you are doing the best that you can. Alright? Alright, so anyway, you guys. Aw, thank you, Emmy. You're welcome, Jody. So again, if you guys want to, work with me with the class that I'm teaching, July 1st, actually, June 30th is the last day to book, and then the prices are going to go up. But everybody who has booked already, and, even though you booked for the times in July, because it's getting kind of overbooked, it is okay. I'm still gonna, honor the amount that was done prior to the month changing. Hi, Lee. Bye, Linda. Thank you, Lorne. Love you too. But yeah, so if you guys really, really want to do that, it's how to feel and use energy, Willow. That's the class. It is, even though it's a basics type of course, I have found a lot of the people who have taken it, have seen, their own potential and healing has changed, where they are able to tap into their own unique healing methods. And that's beautiful, because even though I teach, it's a basics, foundational type of method, I tell them all the time, don't do it the way I'm doing it, do it the way you feel is right for you, and that's the whole point, is understanding that of remembrance. It's a remembrance process. That's my goal, so that everybody can go ahead and do that. With understanding that they are a unique energy, therefore they could do things in a different way. They don't have to do it exactly like I do it. I'm just helping them out with understanding to trust their intuition, because that's the most important thing for all healers, is to trust your own intuition, that you are a healer, and you're here as, I see healers as the first line of everything, where a lot of healers are actually here to to do the healing mission, because it is necessary for Gaia at this time, and it's a beautiful thing. Okay. Oh, yay, Melissa! How are you doing with that, Melissa? Yeah, it is definitely something. Yes, Emmy. There's still space open. It's based on you know, when, you know, it's the perfect time for you, because it's on my website, and so you could choose, you know, time and date or whatever. And it's definitely pretty much catered to those who need like the payment plan. So the payment plan would be $37 an hour, and it's a total of 3 hours. So again, it is up to you when you are ready, or when you have the funds to continue for the rest of the this class. But it is completely $111 for 3 hours, and you get a PDF and of course time with me. I love time with you guys. It's awesome. It's awesome to getting to know your energy and who you are as an individual soul. And it's very beautiful to see all the beautiful colors that you are made of and all the beautiful energies. It's pretty awesome. And it's like, to me, again, it's when they start doing scans on me, I can feel it, and I'm just like, ooh, this feels good, you know. So I get my own healing treatment as well, so it's pretty awesome. So yeah, it is definitely something that I love doing, and it's something that I highly recommend to anybody who is a healer out there, who is practicing, and who is ready to you know, give out their secrets. To help the community of upcoming healers, you know, that you guys do that. Because it is very much a necessary mission, especially right here, right now, this year in Gaia. And until, of course, we bring in higher frequencies, of course, for the ascension. But yeah, hey, you guys. Thank you, Linda. But yeah, that's definitely something that I'm here to be of service for all of the people who need somebody to be a guinea pig for them. Oh man. Anyway, you guys, everybody, we still have the full moon, you know, do whatever you need to do for this. You know, I usually do ritual when at the new moon, I write down, you know, what I really need. I'm very practical about it. Where I say, you know, I really do need like more, you know, love and light, or, you know, just stuff like that. And, you know, it's very based on the individual's needs. And then for the full moon, I release it in a fire ritual. Because fire is transmutative. It definitely does help. All right. But oh my god, if you guys ever seen how believe it is Dave Eisenhower does his fire rituals for the full moon, it is absolutely awesome. You guys, if you are friends with him, you would see all that stuff. It looks pretty cool that he does a big bonfire, and he does it for the collective, and then you see all kinds of creatures, and, you know, he takes pictures, and you see all kinds of creatures just like in the fire and the flames, and I'm just like, oh my god. It's pretty cool. Alright. Okay, you guys. Yes, David is amazing. I love him. I love you, David, if you're watching this. You're my brother. But yeah, he's like awesome. The you know, because he does it for the collective, and I think that's a noble cause as well. It's pretty awesome. Eleanor Young, no, he does it just in his own yard, you know, stuff like that. His own private ritual. But anyway, you guys, oh my god, alright, so it's getting kind of late. I gotta go upstairs and cuddle with my fiance. So you guys, again, just be more mindful, You know, express yourselves in a compassionate way when you do see that stuff, and of course, you know, help other people out as well if they're asking for some assistance. And I'm not saying give your money away, none of that. No, I'm not encouraging that. But I'm just saying, you know, be a shoulder for them, okay? Because a lot of us do get dragged into this type of you know, situation, unfortunately. But it is definitely something that we will be soon healing within ourselves and the collective, and it is very much a necessary part of being a healer, is to help other people. Okay, all right, you guys. Don't forget, tomorrow Jackson Atlantis is going to go live. And Emmy, are you going to be doing selenite Saturday? You're welcome, Joshua. You have a good night. Welcome, Melissa. I don't know if Emmy is still on here. Well, anyway, don't forget to follow Emmy on her business page, is Emmy Evolving. And she usually does have selenite Saturdays and all these awesome spiritual tools like this. By the way, this was customized by Emmy. So I highly recommend you check that out. Lee Trent, it's not a website, it's actually a business page on Facebook. It's Emmy Evolving, E-M-M-I-E, and then Evolving. And so just, you could search it on the search bar, and you'll see her there. And she's actually on a video I actually shared not that long ago on my business page. Yeah, I recommend that. And of course, Soul Work Sunday, where she gives readings as well as energy work to those who Source, you know, guides her to do. So I highly, highly recommend. All right. So again, you guys have a good night. I love you so, so much. And just take care of yourselves, guys. Just, you know, you're so much powerful than you think. You are definitely, definitely here for a reason. And that reason is to uplift all in the vibrations of Gaia for ascension. Okay? I love you guys and have a good night. Mwah. Bye-bye.